Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. All right, guys. So we pushed up yesterday. We pulled back a bit today, and we're back up at the highs. My guess here is we're just gonna be dragging ourselves higher. 4-hour does not look all that bad. I'm just I'm going to point this out at the very beginning of the video here. The MAGS ETF, we talk about it here on this channel. This is just the Magnificent 7 stocks. And, we're going to go over those after we go over the indices. But right here, this is the ETF that contains all 7 of them. And it looks like it wants to break out to the upside. That is very likely going to be the case here. We pulled back, reverted to the mean after, our last big move. Which over here, I'm telling you, everybody was bearish over here as well. On that guy, and then guess what? You just rose to the occasion. And now you're doing the same thing, all right? Everyone's getting all bearish on every single little sell when, yeah, you know what, guys? It's not that easy to call tops, and people try and do it anyway. And, yeah, this thing's probably just going to be breaking higher. So it could be happening tomorrow. I just thought I'd start the video off with that. SPY's looking a little worse than QQ, but at the end of the day, you're still just really consolidating here. You're not doing much of anything, and I highly doubt that the market is going to be falling here, or at least drastically falling if NVDA is pushing up on its way to 200 bucks. If the MAGS ETF over here is about to be breaking out and then starts breaking out, like what happens then? If Google here starts pushing back up, Apple finally does push all-time highs. I know it's moving down here, but it's probably just going to hit it with something like that. Amazon's starting to push up today. Tesla's it's coiled up over here around the 21. As long as it doesn't break the 21 or really test it, like really touch it, I think we're going to be going higher here, but usually when you test the 21, it's even if you do bounce there, like it's the beginning of the end. So I would, prefer just to, keep it right here, coiled up, then push up. That would really be the ideal scenario over here for Tesla bulls. That's what's, that's how it's looking. And if you do break down under here, then, it goes the other way. But, everything we're looking at here suggests, yeah, okay, things want to be going up. Microsoft in the dip today, got bought. Meta over here started pushing up like Amazon. Now just needs to take out 741, get through there. Flip the daily cloud green. This thing's moving and grooving. It might as well just go back to, right back to all-time highs. We talked about how we didn't think all-time highs were going to be coming last month in September. And we thought we were going to get a large move in October into November. And guess what, guys? It is October. All right, it's October. Came down to the monthly 9 EMA there. We're right on the weekly 21 EMA there. All you really need to do is to get this daily cloud to flip back to green, which, by the time you can get above 750, 755, it's probably just going to start turning, flipping back to green there. And at that point, like you have another trending move, just waiting to happen. And you just got to wait for it. But yeah, everything's looking good. NVIDIA, pushed up 195, got tagged today. Maybe you consolidate a bit, but in reality, guys, we're probably in one of these moves here. We're just going to keep going higher for a little bit. So yeah, I just want to start the video off with this because yeah, overwhelmingly things are still looking like we're just going to be drifting higher. So just thought I'd say that because SPY's not really giving you too many levels to work off of. You're just literally sitting here in this range. You're slightly moving to the upside here. You're just grinding up, but I'd imagine they either do that, like give you like a sharp move at some point, or just pump you up. More likely, I think they're going to pump you up with what QQ is doing over here. Tech is definitely leading the pack. Especially the MAGS. ETF coiled up like that. SPY's not coiled up like that. It's a little different type of coiled up there. But yeah, that's why QQ is going to be looking like this and SPY's not. But yeah, over here, guys, 4-hour pulled back, almost tagged 607.16 today. Got buyers stepping over there. You actually did have 15-minute bullish divergences going on at the lows there, right there on SPY and QQQ. All right, you also got bought up over here in the golden pocket on both SPY and QQQ. And yeah, when everything's agreeing with each other, right off, just over here, there you are. Okay. There you go. All right, your intraday action. All right, so you're in the golden pocket. You had these 15-minute bullish divergences going on here. You know, as soon as you started getting bought up over here, we kind of could see what's happening. And then guess what? You started clearing over here the 21 EMA. You rejected over here. You know, if you guys need some help over here, all right, just determining what you know should or shouldn't be doing over here. Cloud. Okay, right here, indicators. You're going to just type this in, EMA Cloud 150/250. This thing just keeps kind of drifting a little higher, but I know there's like 200 to 400 of you guys that are using this thing that I pumped that thing with. But yeah, you guys can use that thing, and it is going to benefit. All right, I'm just going to say trading in general. It's going to show you what you should and shouldn't be doing over here, okay? The cloud is red. You start breaking under pre-market low, cloud is red. Until you get back above the 21 EMA and the cloud flips back to green, then you're not expecting these bounces to have follow through. You're expecting them to be sold. And as you could see, this bounce right here got sold. This bounce right here got sold. Then this one got sold right into the 21 EMA where you're expecting rejection. Then these, you know, for it looks like 45 minutes here, you're just getting rejected right there at the 21, and the cloud failed to flip green. At the end of the day, you started getting above, but guess what? You know, all day you weren't expecting, you know, these bounces to really hold up until you started seeing this thing, you know, the price got to get above that white line, the 21 EMA, and then you have to see it flip green. And then when that happens, that's usually when, if you're in an uptrend, that's when you start turning around. Just like over here, I wouldn't be surprised to now see something like this. All right. So that's that. QQQ, SPY. You know, that's all I really got to say over here. You know, just look at SPY, guys. It's consolidating this range. We did know, all right, we broke up from consolidation just 2 weeks ago over here, so we knew it was probably that we're not just gonna, you know, go back into consolidation or just, you know, have a drastic pullback or anything like that. It's like we were going to be pushing higher this week over here. QQ, it is looking like it's pushing, you know, quite a bit more than SPY over there. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see SPY and QQ both have, you know, decent days tomorrow to close out the week. You know, with all honesty, that's my honest opinion there. But yeah, on the upside, guys, 673.94 above there, 675, 678, and 680. On the downside here on SPY, 669.21. You have the daily 9 EMA right there. You found buyers today there, but also the other day on Tuesday, right above the 9 EMA. Okay, if you cannot hold there, 669.21, we're talking 667.34, and then you have 665.28 with the 21 EMA sitting right below around 664. Okay, that is SPY. Coming over to QQQ, guys. Okay, we'll just clean that off. On the upside, we have 611.75. That's yesterday's high, and then we do have the overnight high there of 612.91. Above 612.91, we're talking 615, 618, 620. On the downside, we're talking 607.16. Underneath there, 602.87. And then 599.90. We'll just say 600, and then 21 EMA is right around there. 598.50, 599. Okay. But yeah, you know, until proven otherwise, guys, expect these dips to be bought. That's really as simple as it is. And as far as determining short-term price action, I'm telling you, use the cloud. I gave you the blueprint. You know, this is exactly how to use it. I just talked about it. Okay, and this is how to put it on your chart. Okay, EMA Cloud 150/250 if you want this. Okay, and then you're gonna do this. I'm going to set it up just like this, 5, 9, 21. All right, you're going to make this opacity 100%, over here opacity 0%, and then this opacity 100%. White, red. Okay, that's literally it. That's all you got to do, guys. All you got to do. And then if you want to just come trade with me, I'll do all this stuff for you. I'm also live every day. That link is down below, and I was going to do a lifetime the discount off of Sound and Open. Sound started, and now Sound did end up going over here. It gave us 200% our weeklies, you know, very quick. It was like 180%. But you know, it lasted like all of like 5 minutes there at the highs before, it was like 10 minutes before you start pulling back, and you just never end up going. Now I'm just going to say at Sound, you have a chance. Okay, you have a chance to do it. It makes sense to do it tomorrow if it's going to do it. If it doesn't do it tomorrow, then I think we're going to pull back for a few weeks back into the 9 EMA, and we get another shot at this later on. But yeah, you know, I still think it makes total sense to do it tomorrow over here on Sound. Okay. It's right back into the 4-hour 21 EMA. It's just pulling back. You know, it looked like it wasn't going to go back up. after you had this topping tail. And what happened? It drifted back to the highs. If we can get back up here, take out 1933, take out 2008, this thing can have a squeeze day. This thing can have a quick 20-30% move, 22.85, 25 bucks above there. And then at that point, you know, all-time high breakout, that's when it gets a little crazy. But, you know, over here, you know, you didn't take your dear sweet time like over here. You already had one failure here. Now, I guess that would be the second. But again, you know, it makes sense. If it's going to do it tomorrow. If not, it might take, you know, another 1 to 2 weeks of consolidating, and then it pushes up. All right, but there's a lot of hot stuff in this market right now, guys. All right, but yeah, that's why there's no code sound. I said we would do it if it, and it did end up getting the move the next day, but it didn't get the full move. If you guys got it down here, you made some money. Okay, but now if you guys want 50% off the lifetime membership, just use code MAGS, code MAGS. All right, it makes more sense. Mag 7 stocks, I'm telling you guys, they're about to drag the market higher over here. And as everybody was getting bearish, you know, I don't know why my feed was just way too bearish. And I'm like, government shutdown. Nah, I know wherever they start the government shutdown, they're probably going to close it above the government shutdown. So if we get any dip, we know it's a buying opportunity. There's no reason to be getting bearish. If it's a clear as day buying opportunity, just, you know, focus on the names you like on, you know, just concentrate. Okay, but yeah, you know, you guys could see the same thing I'm seeing. This thing's coiled up ready for a move, and you know, we went over SPY and QQ levels there. We're just going to come over. I'm just going to show you DIA right on the 21, IWM right on the it's not at the 21, but it's consolidating around the 9, 3 days in a row here. And you know, it doesn't look like it wants to fall off a cliff here. This is, you know, it looks like exactly what these guys are doing, you know, controlled pullbacks into the 9 EMA before we go whoop, there you go, whoop, and you do it again, and you do it again. You know, so that's what it looks like to me. You're probably going to be going higher from here. At some point, you are going to pull back, and it's going to be a clear as day buying opportunity when it happens. But yeah, I don't think that's going to happen before the MAGS ETF breaks out the new highs here. And if it does have a decent day tomorrow and close out the week strong, then guys, this thing's probably going to have 1 to 2 more weeks like that, and people are going to be mind blown. Okay. So yeah, you know, don't be caught being bearish on the market right now. Just wait until things tell you to be bearish. Constantly be, you know, just approaching it like this, guys. Okay, you got to constantly be evaluating your risk, constantly evaluating, you know, it doesn't make sense to have this size on. It doesn't make sense if I'm taking newer trades. Okay, now I know the environment I'm trading in. Should I be sizing up? I'm telling you right now, in this next move up, you know, should have been taking, you know, your position in the consolidation over here. And now if you start getting this next leg up on the market there, if the MAGS ETF starts pushing up, everything starts pushing up, Palantir, CRWV, they're going to be popping off over here in the short term, I'm pretty sure. All right, if these things start popping off, be taking profits into them, okay, into this new pop. You see CRWD 155, 160, take profits. You can get back in next week on a dip. All right, whatever you want to do. But, you know, that's my approach to the market right now. That's how I'm looking at it. Okay, because I am telling you, they have been loading up puts on SPY, QQ, IWM again, and yeah, you know, it's not drastically going down yet, which makes me think someone's doing it for some reason. Normally we get one of those knife candles at some point when that's going on, so it's something to take note of. But yeah, markets, you know, it keeps buying all dips and selling all new highs, so it's choppy. Okay, but that's why I say MAGS. Okay, they're my personal bread and butter. Yes, we go over, you know, so many trade ideas every single day on this video, on these videos. But yeah, I'm serious. These are your bread and butters here. We're gonna say 2 to 3 weeks. All of the MAG 7 stocks set up for you. Okay, I pointed out plenty of setups over the last few months over here on Google. All right, pointing out a few on Amazon. Amazon now looks like it wants to start marching back up to all-time highs. But you know, I pointed out over here, consolidating 4 sessions in a row off of the 21 EMA. I pointed out on that day right there. All right, saying it was viable off the 21 EMA, and then I pointed out once we got 4 sessions here, how you could get a little pop. You know, that there's a trade idea right there. At the end of the day, this is probably going to be returned back up to the highs. Give it a few weeks, things revert back to mean, just like you see over here on GOOG, and then they set up for new highs. You know, that's what happens in a trending market here. We definitely have a trending market, whether you want to, you know, accept it or not. This is a great market to be in. It is. Okay. You know, it's nice and juicy. Okay. At some point we will get a larger correction. I'll let you know when that's starting. I will. I just don't think it's going to be yet. We'll talk about more in the weekly update, guys. That we will. All right. But yeah, Google over here, guys. You know, and before I move on to the Mag 7 stocks, VIX over here, guys, has been coiled up against the 21 EMA for, I don't know, it's been so long now. It's been like almost 3 weeks there. It's just been dancing right around it. Every time, every single day, it looks like, oh, snap, it's about to go, and then it gets sucked back down. All right, so, you know, even though this is looking like this, I'm telling you, just set your alert at 1938. If that gets hit, you know there's a larger correction like happening right then and there on the market, you know, to sell your positions. Who cares if you got to cut some things for loss, okay? All right, that's what I was saying. As the markets be, you know, pushing up, okay, I think the move is to be taking those profits and just wait, and we're going to see what happens in the next mean reversion. Okay, it doesn't mean, you know, to be going balls to walls on the next mean reversion. All right, tells you maybe this time it's going to be a deeper correction, and we're going to have to take the wait and see approach. Okay, all right, there you go, there you go. I'll walk you guys through it in real time as we're going through it here on this channel, 5 days a week, baby. All right, there you go. But yeah, Google against the 21 EMA, guys. I'm not sure if it's going to be holding right here, but your support is 239.20, and underneath there, we're talking the weekly 9 EMA right around 232. That's Google. Over here on Apple, guys, we talked about the further you get away from all-time highs, the you know, cheaper the discount is, or the bigger the discount is for that move to all-time highs. It's very clearly going to get all-time highs. Very clearly. Very obviously going to do it this month. You know, so I don't know how deep it's going to fall here, but you have 254 support right here, 253.95 underneath there. You know, you're coming down 250. That's around the 21 EMA. It doesn't have to perfectly bounce off of that, but you're probably going to find buyers somewhere around there. Okay, that's the 5 EMA here in the weekly time frame. Underneath there, we have 244.03. That's around the weekly 9 EMA. I don't think it's going to come down that deep, but yeah, I'm telling you, it's just discounted prices for that move to all-time high. So watch for that discount. All right, I'm waiting on it, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. We will see. But at the end of the day, all-time highs is going to be coming. Amazon started waking up, guys, above 224.20. We had 226.22, and then nothing until 228.71. We almost up there, guys, almost there. And I did point out you had this triple bullish divergence there, right over here around the bottom. Okay, so there was that. I made it very clear over here, starting off the week with that. But yeah, guys, above 228.71, we're talking 230, and then you have 234.16, 238.85, 242.52. Now, this one I want to make pretty clear here. We all knew it was at some point this thing going back to all-time highs. I think it's probably green light on Amazon right now. We'll get this monthly chart, guys. Look at how this thing is shaping up so far. 8 days into our month here. Okay. Well, it's 9 days. This thing's looking pretty juicy. Bullish engulfing candlestick already on the monthly candle there. Okay, monthly chart. This weekly over here, you found buyers right around the weekly 21. That's perfect. Okay, that's picture perfect. That's, you know, that's a lot of times is exactly what you see right before you push up the new highs on something. All right, and you know, hey, okay, you have a big old range. Came down to the bottom of the range. And now I'm guessing what comes next is you push to the top of the range. And if you do that, I imagine you're just going to break it and break the new all-time highs. So Amazon's heating up. All right. It's going to be a major contributor in our move over here on the MAGS ETF. But the monthly chart over here on MAGS, look, you have the breakout here on the daily time frame, breakout from this 2-week range over here. Bang. All right. Like that is going to expand the monthly candle. Like this might be a nice move, guys. Nice move. People aren't going to see it coming, but we got it. We got it. Okay. Tesla came right down to the 21 EMA. It's coiled up around it, guys. 2 sessions in a row. Okay. I'm not really going to give you a trigger over here other than 253.55, this high from over here at October 6th. Okay. That was Tesla. Get above 453.55 on Tesla. We're talking 470.75 and then 488.54. Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft pulled back to the 9 EMA today, almost tagged the 21, and you found buyers. Now, what we're going to do is mark out today's high, get above today's high at 524.33. All right, we have yesterday's high at 526.95. Above there, 532.70. Microsoft. Meta, guys, big day over here on Meta. I told you once the daily RSI gets down here, this one we typically start getting these 20 or 30 point bounces. It does not mean you're going to have a bottom in, okay? It doesn't. You have to get through this 20 point bounce on the day. You have to get through the 21 EMA here, and I want to see the cloud flip green. Over here, okay, you didn't really get through the 21. You just kept projecting right there, and the cloud stayed red. And then bang, you got green cloud flipped above it, break and retest off of the 21, and you push back up. All right, so I don't know exactly how this is going to shape up. It's either going to be do some crazy things and get a real impulsive move going right through this bad boy. All right, and then cloud flip screen when you're around 766 at that point. Or you're going to go like that, you're going to go like this, and then you move up. Or we reject right here, come like that, and something like this. All right, but that's meta, guys. We're coming into 740.91. That's the level to pay attention to. Above there, 766.51, and then all-time highs 796.25. NVIDIA. All right, now, hey, all right, you could have a little short-term topping tail right there, but have no doubt, guys, this thing is going higher. NVIDIA just broke out over here. You have this little, range. You very clearly can see it on the monthly time frame. In the past, when these, have built out and we start breaking up, this is what leads to, decent sized moves. And I imagine this is going to be no different. Okay. You can see it here on the weekly, pulled back, danced around the 9 EMA for so long, guys. It's like, a month and a half right there, 2 months. We're just sitting right above the 9 EMA. Start now pushing up. Break and retest can be seen over here on the daily time frame. Weekly, all right, break and retest as well. You could see it as well. You pushed up, bang, past last week's high, and we went straight to 195. Is that not what we talked about in the last video? I know we did. We were not here yesterday. Sometimes life gets in the way. That's fine. All right, we're back the next day. We don't miss too many days over here. If you are new here to the channel, guys, we have a video 5 days a week, 4 days, Monday through Thursday, and then every Saturday we have a weekly update preparing for the next day, for the next week. All right, the next week ahead, and then during that week we have our daily updates. And in these updates, we start them off with the indices. We go over the Mag 7 stocks. We get the broad picture out the way. And then we dive into the real TA, the trade ideas, the things that are ready to go. And honestly, guys, this is a hot market. We are getting a lot of follow through. There's some things that haven't been moving, but I'm going to show you today. Oh, baby, they're starting to move. All right. But yeah, NVIDIA, guys, on the downside, 190.105. That's where you broke out from. You hit it with the break and retest today, though. I have a feeling you're going to hold there and start pushing up off this area. On the upside, you have 195.30 above there. We're talking 198 and then $200, and that's that. This is the Mag 7 stocks, guys. Now diving into some trade ideas just for you. SERV, guys, we talked about this in the last video. Okay, you pulled back yesterday into the 9 EMA and you launched today. You absolutely launched, and above 1531, there's nothing until 1882. Well, where do you think that thing's going? Insane volume on the day. I think heaviest volume you've had since this day right over here on your initial spike off. I think it was the NVIDIA investment there. Straight up, this thing definitely played catch up over here to RR. Congrats if you caught RR and then transitioned into SERV. I point out SERV was the one I wanted to play options on. RR was more of a share play. Well, turns out they both want to move just about the same. All right. Well, this one moved 100%, in the span of 1 week. SERV definitely did not do that, but you still, you moved quite a bit, guys, 60%. All right. So, I'm telling you, this thing is now playing the catch up we were talking about, that it can play to RR there. Okay. Be taking profits on this move up, guys. Consolidation will come. And if you are trading options, that is when, IV crush, it happens. Okay. The IV pump that you're experiencing, it goes away real quick, faster than you can believe. And if you're not selling, when you're moving up, you're going to be chasing things on the way down. And I'm telling you, on options, it's just a lot harder to get out of things on the way out. I'm telling you, it's different than shares. So there's going to be that. Okay, that's SCRV. CRWV, what you know about it? What you know about it? The thing wants to move, guys. It wants to move above 144.33. We're talking 148.80, and then I'm talking 155, 160, and 166.63. Weekly candle looks like this thing wants to move. We already know that this is likely going to be making a nice ass push this month. Okay. Weekly over here, it's nice and coiled up. I would not be surprised to see this thing end off the week with a bang, with how it's also coiled up here on the daily time frame. It has had very lackluster bounces and then retraced into the moving averages. All right, 9 and 21 EMA, 4 weeks now. I think that is about to end, and I think it is just about go time here on CRWV. Let's see if we get a move going tomorrow. PLTR, new all-time highs incoming in the short term. Not saying it's going to happen tomorrow, but you guys can see the same thing I'm seeing right here. This thing is coiled up over here. You gapped up to the open of last week's candle. Okay. You said, nope, leave this area in the dust. Let's get right to the top of the range. And we have been consolidating at the top of the range the whole week. Okay. I think this thing is getting ready for a move up. And yeah, it's right around the corner, guys. And once we can break 190, we're talking 200 plus. Okay, that is PLTR. No brainer right here. You just got to give it some time. It's been consolidating for quite some time. So I imagine if you get in now, you don't have to give it much time, but still do so anyway if you're playing options. SOFI. All right, you got through 2661. You popped. You have a high here of 2884. If you can get through 2884, we're talking 30-30. And then you're off to the races. You're off to new all-time highs. But, you know, we talked about it earlier on the week. This thing looks like it wants to push back up to all-time highs, and I imagine it's going to blow this out the water, and I have a feeling it's going 35 plus. Okay, but that is SOFI. It's either going to be like this over here, false breakout, or it's going to be 35 plus. Over here, we talked about it. It's still, even if it's going to be a false breakout, it's probably going to be similar to that. That would be 32 bucks. Okay, current price is 28. TMC, the metals company, fresh breakout. Just going to point out. First week, 43%. First week, 27%. First week of the breakout, 40%. First week of the breakout, 35%. First week of the breakout, 48%. The smallest one along this run was right here, 27%. This is a lot. You know, you pulled back for quite a bit here. This took a while consolidating without making new highs over here. All right, 3 months worth. Well, 27% would be up here around $11. If it's going to fit in with its brothers over here, all right, these brotherly moves, then it goes to $11 tomorrow. I'm not saying it does. I'm just saying if it's going to magically do the thing, it does it tomorrow. All right. If not, I'm still going to say this thing's very likely going higher from here. I think it's going to go higher next week. Okay. That is TMC. But you can see over here, broke out. Pulled back, consolidated that day. We have breakout, pulled back, consolidated that day. We did get a nice move in the overnight session. Okay, just like that. Bada bing, bada boom. 20% overnight there from the lows there. And now you're finding buyers off that 4-hour 9 EMA, off the golden pocket. Hourly looks like it's starting to turn around. So yeah, you know, this guy likes all of these stocks. Okay, they like their overnight gaps here. And that's just how these guys have been trading. Okay, that's TMC. Cypher, I think you're going up to new highs. I think we're going to see 20 plus in the short term here. You have, this is the overnight high, 1967. You popped up last night. And yeah, you did not open there. You did not test there intraday. I think you were going to get there. But yeah, we broke out of this consolidation here. Iron, we see, is going a little nuts. Cypher, guys, is moving exactly like Iron. And yeah, don't be surprised to see this thing continue, and don't be surprised to see it 20 plus in the short term. That is Cypher. Okay, be taking your profits on this. I pointed out Cypher on this dip right here was on this knife candle. Okay, so keep that in mind. HR, ACHR. All right, pulled back to the 9 EMA here. I love the reaction going on. All right. Yes, you might have had this nice big fat gap down there. I understand. And you had a big sell, almost down 10% of the day, but they bought you back up right from where you sold from. Heaviest volume so far on these 1392 tests up here. Okay. Tested it here, and that's where you put in the level. This is the heaviest volume. You've been rejecting in this area for, you know, quite some time now. Some point you're going to break out. It looks like that might be this month. So I just thought I'd point that out. You have the heavy volume going around. And yeah, they bought the dip. It looks like, you know, they consolidate you, and then you get back up here. And if you get back up here, I think they're going to break it. Over here, you didn't test in the short term. Over here, you didn't test in the short term. Over here, if you test in the short term, it's looking like you want to break it. So that's ACHR above 1392. I'd imagine you go 16 plus in the short term. There you go. QUBT loves its offerings. Okay, everyone thinks maybe it's dead, but yeah, I'm telling you, this thing might actually have a good day tomorrow. You're coiled up right here around the 21 EMA. It looks like this thing might get some nice moves. So it looks like it wants to get back up here, and if it gets back up here, it then looks like it would break out the new highs. So I don't know if it's going to be happening this week, but it can also happen next week. Either way, I'm thinking price gets back up to highs. Oklo consolidating, it's getting real tight over here, right underneath previous all-time highs. Okay, 144.49. The fact that you tested over here but didn't break out, and now you're consolidating, this is 4 sessions of consolidation here above the 9 EMA, tells us that, yeah, this thing is very likely going to be breaking out to the upside here, and I think 160 plus is incoming. Above 145, we're talking 160 plus. INTC consolidating over here, we got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sessions, 6-day range, a 5-day range. You have the exact, you know, all of price action is really within these two levels, 36.30 and 36.68. You pop above 36.68, I think you're going to do it tomorrow. I think it makes sense for this weekly candle. You know, it looks like it's going to pop in the short term. It would make sense for them to expand the weekly candle and, you know, take advantage of the daily setup there towards the end of the week here. We've got 1 day in the week left. So yeah, above 38.68, you have nothing until 42.04. Above 38.68, we're talking 40, that's psych level, and then 42.04. Netflix, guys, bada bing, bada boom. Bullish engulf, not a bullish engulfing candlestick, but it is definitely a bullish weekly candlestick. Above 12.34, we're talking 12.67, and then you have nothing until all-time highs. I think this thing is going to be going up to all-time highs over the next 2 weeks. Netflix, okay. ASTS, it's a high flyer, but I think it's going to keep going. That's that. Bullish engulfing candlestick on the day above 91.41. We're talking 95 and then $100. That's ASTS. Coming over here to Rocket Lab, guys. You are quite extended off of the 9 EMA here. I'm looking to get back into this bad boy. I think anybody should be taking profits. If you're a buyer down here in this range with me, you know, 200% over here. You know, you're going way up on 10-17 calls. If you're on 11-21 calls, I still imagine you're probably sitting up, you know, over 100% if you rode up on this whole move. You're gonna get mean reversion at some point. I promise. It's how this thing likes to trade, and you can easily get back in off that because this thing just had a pretty gnarly move. 25% over here when it has been giving you absolutely nothing but range bound action. That's an amazing move. From the lows over here, this thing is up over 50%. So, yeah, be taking your profits. I'm personally waiting on the mean reversion to see if we get it. It doesn't look like we might not be getting it. We might just be pushing up. ASTS looks like you could push up in the short term. So if that guy's going, Rocket Lab's probably going to be going too. But yeah, I'll just remind everyone, take your profits. I know if you bought down here, you're sitting up, and you didn't have. If you were buying down here, you're sitting big up. All right. TEM. All right, it's pulling back right now, guys, but you did get a big weekly breakout. I imagine they're going to actually close this above 97.79, so I don't think they're going to pull you back tomorrow. I think it's more likely going to take out 104.32 and squeeze into end of week. All right, let's see if we get it. But yeah, if they do continue pulling you back, you might just have this action right here, and then next week you take out 104.32, and we're probably talking 115 plus from there if they wait till next week. All right. There you go. Past that, we're talking NBIS over here, guys. Looks like it's ready for a new high. Likely going to pop above 135.76 in the short term. Above 135.76, we're talking 140 plus. Probably going to be getting a good move tomorrow, guys. I don't think they're going to close this candlestick out like this. If they do, expect this thing to start consolidating. That's what's likely going to follow. Okay. AVGO. Weekly chart doesn't look all that bad. They're selling puts on this guy today. And yeah, daily doesn't look all that bad as well. And then you come over the 4 hour and guess what? You're coiled up against, you know, in between the 21 and your resistance 347.61. Above 347.61, we're talking 356.34. Above there, 360, 370, 374.23, all-time highs. USAR, in the last video, we point out the consolidation going on here. This thing is likely going to continue pushing, guys. You have 2 weeks of record volume going on over here after your breakout. You are up quite a bit. All right, that's a 60% move just about that took place over here. But I do think this is probably going to continue over here. You have a break and retest in the 4 hour off of 30.92. And yeah, it does look like it wants to continue. So I think 35 plus in the short term is probably going to be coming. But yeah, it's one of those trend stocks over here. If you, you know, you care to trade them. All right. It's a hot one. But yeah, we point out a consolidation here. It started pushing back up. So it might be going for the next leg. Reddit, guys. All right. It's right off the weekly 21 for the first week, you know, so far here. Not sure if it's going to go something like that. Really not sure. But, you know, it looks like they're holding over here. And you got this little base building out. All right. And if you mark out the top of it, that's going to be 213.38. Above 213.38, we have the 21 EMA, which happens to be right over here where we broke down from. All right. Right at 223.50. Above 223.50, we're going to be talking right here at 235.85. And then we're working our way back up, okay? I'm not sure how quick it's going to work its way back up. Just realize the cloud is red over here on the daily time frame. And, you know, during this consolidation, it was green, all right? When it's red, you're going to stay in consolidation. And you're going to expect this bounce to be sold until proven otherwise, which means you're not drinking the Kool-Aid over here just yet. I'm just pointing out, weekly 21 EMA test. If buyers are going to step in, they're going to start doing so around here. But if you want confirmation, just wait until the cloud flips green. And all of a sudden, we're probably pushing right back up to all-time highs. CELH. Okay. And earlier in the video, I told you how to put this indicator on your chart. Okay. CELH, we talked about it this week right here. Weekly 21 EMA test. All right. Not exactly, but, you know, you put in the hammer right around there, hammer pin bar. All right. Bottoming tail there. And now you have pushed up and you broke above 63.50, your high right there. Above there, you have nothing till 68.95. So I'm going to say 68.95 incoming. HIMS, the day is getting closer, guys. It's getting closer. Above 60.55, we have a breakout. We're talking 65.89, 72.98. And then, we're in price discovery mode. We're going 80 plus, 90 plus, maybe 100 plus. Option chain, price in a big move over here. It's now consolidating right underneath 60.55, 2 sessions in a row. Don't be surprised to see this thing start popping here in the short term over the coming sessions. I think it might be a coming. Path. We talked about Path, and dude, it quietly went up 20% today. I didn't even see it until end of day. I really had no idea. Yeah, I honestly didn't trust this one over here. I didn't. But who would have thought? It's like the biggest mover aside from SCRV going up 30% today. Pretty crazy move over here, SCRV. Pretty crazy stuff. And again, I'm going to remind everyone, you know, 17.18, that's what we were calling out over here. That was going to be the target for this next move. You went 17.18 in one session here. You should definitely be taking your profits. That's when options premiums are really going to be pumping there, okay? All right, guys. And, you know, I got 2 more we're going to talk about here, okay? MDB, it looks like it is getting ready for a move. You know, it's really coiled up over here on the weekly. Daily, you can see it, you know, nice rounded base against the 21 there. Above 335.83, we're talking 344.85, and then 370 to 387.19 incoming. And I like what's going on in the monthly. Okay, there's that. And then I'll give an update over here on Hive, guys. HIVE. I gave it to you over here at like 350. If you guys were taking this, please start taking your profits. It probably is going to bust right through, though. I'm just going to tell you. But I know you are pushing 100%. This is just heavy volume coming into the thing up here. This is kind of crazy. But when we got here above 574, we said the next supply zone 684 to 753. We got there within 3 sessions. This is crazy. This is a crazy mover over here. I think it's going much higher. This thing looks like, you know, we just talked about how Cypher looks like iron. Okay. In the last few videos, I've been mentioning this, like, look at this chart. Okay. And then look at this chart. Okay. And then look at this chart. Okay. Do they not look similar? And then also look at this chart. Honestly, dude, iron is like the analog setup for all these other, you know, charts that are really starting to take off. Like Mara looks like it's going to start really taking off. What is Bitcoin doing right now? Okay. I really don't trust this move over here. I feel like they're going to give us a whole crap ton of consolidation, but maybe these minor stocks are really going to start moving. Okay. Maybe. All right. Maybe Mara is going to be playing, you know, catch up over there to its, or the riot. Look at this guy go. You know, right over here looks like it's in this mode of you know, building out. It's like Microsoft right now, where it just builds out a little range, gives a little pop, builds out another range, gives a little pop, you know. And then you got CLSK also going like ham with Riot, except harder. Okay, we called out the breakout over here, 1366, guys. Like, this thing exploded the past 2 weeks. All these are quiet moves that people aren't talking about here. Like, CLSK looks like this thing is going to, you know, go like this. All right, it's pretty crazy stuff that's going on right now. All right, but that's what I have for you guys today. ALAB, I'm just going to point out, I think it's going to be returning back up to the highs this month. This is the weekly chart over here. I think we might be taking out 232 tomorrow and having a decent day. This thing, last time I was pointing out a breakout, this thing ended up having a 13% day right around the corner. We started pointing out right over here. I'm just pointing out again that we might see an outsized day right around the corner here on ALAB, ALAB. Okay, above 232, we're talking 262.90, and then yeah, next breakout 270, 280, $300. Okay. All right, guys, we called that we called that out over here in our last video. Don't be surprised to see this thing return back to 1878 and then break out to 20 plus. Well, today you are over $20. Okay. And yeah, it's probably just going to continue going now. Okay. The last one over 2 weeks from its breakout went 40%. If we're going to do, you know, a similar move over here, 40%, it's all the way up to $26. Okay. But, you know, we very well can go 25 plus here on UU. All right. With that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, just please remember to leave a like. And then, yeah, if you do want to trade with me, that link is down below. And if you want to get the lifetime membership, all right, that is half off, normally 1,600. It is $800, 800 off. Yeah, use code MAGS, code MAGS. And with that being said, guys, I hope everybody has a lovely rest of their day. And I will catch y'all in the next one. Hope you guys are crushing this market here. All right. And peace.